Hi again then guys, and so we've got another Special Projects replica build for you today, and this time it's a slightly different replica. It is a replica, but it's a much simpler one. You can consider this as kind of more of a performance update rather than a full replica, but nonetheless it is a replica of the performance improvements from a next model up. Because on the game, of course, we have the Lancia Delta Integrale Evo. This, though, is a replica of the Evo 2, which came out slightly later, looks virtually identical, so there's nothing really that you need to do to it visually, go for whatever colour you want, of course, but it does have some very minor, but still interesting, performance changes. Slightly less weight, slightly more power, and a different gearbox setup. So this is a replica more for people who are just fans of the Delta, such as myself. I've always loved the Lancia Delta, and who would like to drive an in-game representation of what is essentially the ultimate version of the production Delta. There was, of course, the S4 Stradale, which is an extreme hardcore Delta, but this is, of the normal Deltas, pretty much the ultimate one that you can get. So, as I said, there's no reason to go over to the visual tuning garage. We'll go over straight to the mechanical garage and then take it out to the track to see what kind of differences the update makes. Now, as many of you know, I do like to make my replicas as PP relevant as possible, and thankfully this one rounds off really nicely to 410 PP. Now, I've gone for sport softs because obviously this is a street vehicle. As far as the suspension, we've got the ride height on 140 front and rear. Springs we've just tightened up a little bit to 525 and 475. Dampers and anti-roll we've left on 3. We've got neutral camber and tow. For the drivetrain, on the diff we've got the lowest initial torque, highest acceleration and lowest braking. I've left all of these stock, again just to make it feel a little bit more authentic to the road version. This car is running about 220 horsepower, so not a huge amount more, but still more nonetheless. If I remember correctly, I don't have an oil change on this car, but I can't recall. I may have an oil change, I may not. I don't think that I did though, so you'll have to just compare that to your own. Now we've got the sports computer and a sports exhaust to slightly change the exhaust note of the car and to bring us up to the kind of power that we need. Then we've reduced the power down to 93.1% to get us down to 410 pp, and you just want purely the window weight reduction because the actual car weighs 1,340 kilos, so 10 kilos less than the car which is on the game. So as I said, not massive differences compared to the Evo 1, but still an improved vehicle nonetheless. And as far as the gearbox, the ratios are different on this car, so you want an auto setting of 205 to be able to reach these gears, then individual gears of 3.5, 2176, 1523, 1156, 917 and 863 with a final drive of 3111. So that's it for the mechanical update to turn your Delta into, in effect, an Evo 2. Now let's take it out to a circuit to see if there are tangible differences. Now, as far as straight line performance and the weight difference, they're obviously not that massive, so the differences in that regard aren't necessarily huge. The main improvements and difference that you can feel to the car are in the handling, the overall cornering, the drivability, etc. Overall, it is definitely faster than the normal Evo 1, and for Delta fans, I think you'll enjoy driving this car. I know I personally plan to use it for cruising because I am, as I said, a huge fan of the Delta, and the Evo 2 is, to me, the obvious choice to have in the game, and I don't really understand why they've never done so. But for a replica of the Evo 2, this is certainly an interesting alternative to many of my usual replicas, which are usually full overhauls. So if you decide to use this kind of update for your Delta, obviously I hope you find it fun and potentially even competitive for racing. And if you'd like to keep up with other updates and replicas like this as soon as they're released, be sure to slap subscribe down below for that. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.